All right, today we're looking at vertex form, and this is essentially what this vertex form looks like. You have your A, you have X minus your H, and you have a plus K. All right, this is vertex form right here, vertex form. So let's first off talk about the A and what A means. A has a couple meanings. First off, if A is positive, so if A is positive, just a positive number, that means your graph will look like this. That's how it looks. Notice the vertex there is a minimum. So if A is positive, the graph will be going up and it will have a minimum. If A is negative, what happens is it reflects, and this is something to keep in mind, reflects over the x-axis. Again, just fancy terminology there. All that means is that the graph flips and it looks like this, and the vertex is at the top, which is a maximum. That's all that means. So if A is positive, it stays the way it is. All right, we have a point, and it's going to be a minimum for the vertex. If A is negative, it's going to reflect over the x-axis, and it is a maximum. Another part about A. If A is greater than 1, so I'm just going to put here, if it is greater than 1, then that means it's going to stretch. It'll stretch. Again, you don't really need to know what that means or what it looks like. You just need to know some characteristics. If A is greater than 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, anything like that, then it will stretch. If A is less than 1, and what Coach Bergdorf put down is less than 1 but greater than 0. Just know less than 1. Also, I guess you can put and greater than 0. The graph will shrink. So really what you're looking for with that is you're looking for fractions. So like half, 2/3, 5/7. Anything that's a fraction, that's what you're looking for it to shrink. Now, obviously, if the fraction has a bigger number on top and a small number bottom, that's bigger than 1, so that'd be a stretch. But notice usually any fractions like that, when the numerator is less than the denominator, it's going to be a shrink. It's going to be a shrink. Next thing to talk about is H. H is the big deal here. H is usually the tough one to remember. Up here, notice that says X minus H. If it ever says X minus H, you're going to move the graph. The graph moves to the right. It moves to the right. X minus H, the graph moves to the right. Now, if it's X plus H, guess where the graph's moving? The graph moves to the left. It's going to go to the left. So just know the difference there between if it's X minus H, or X minus a number, the graph moves to the right. If it's X plus H, that means it's going to move the graph to the left. And this will make a little more sense when we see examples. But another thing for H, if H equals a positive number, how you write that is X minus that number. If H equals a negative number, then you're going to put down X plus that number. So notice what happens there is these are opposites, right? X equals a number, so that means you flip it, and it's X minus that number. If H equals a negative number, then you put X plus that number. So again, they're opposites. K, I think K is pretty easy. K is just up here. If you look, it's just whatever that number is on the outside right there, that last number. So if K is positive, the graph goes up. Hey, guess what? If the graph is negative, if K is negative, that means the graph goes down. So there's a couple things to kind of keep in mind there. Again, A, H, and K. Those are the three main things. You got to know what each of those mean. But I'm going to look at some examples here in a second, so stay with me. And again, go back and rewatch this video again and again and again until you understand what A, H, and K, what they do.